Greetings, it's Lily Willy. So, today I read something that tickled not so much my funny bone as my snarky bone. And I will make 2 videos in response to this particular event, the which I just read about. And this is going to be the less polite version. So, just advance warning. I'll make another one that goes a little bit more in depth, more broadly, on my opinions, in response to potentially some of the attitude vibe common to many activists across the world. But which I think activists in the West have particularly perfected. That perhaps Mr. Zimmerman may have been responding to more perhaps than any actual beliefs held by any particular group of activists, liberal or otherwise, including those in the Black Lives Matter movement. I will make a brief disclaimer here also. I am more in the All Lives Matter camp, however, I would broaden this to mean all lives matter irrespective of any possible outer features and such, including race, religion, species orientation, etc. Hence, in other words, in regard to whose lives matter, I'm on all sides. Period. But that disclaimer made, Mr. George Zimmerman had recently chosen to state that all Black Lives Matter activists are terrorist cowards. I read this and I found it, as we in the Northwest say, interesting. Because you see, there are plenty of reasons why someone could justifiably take to task many activists across the world for their manner in attempting to get their message across. Because you see, anger and the spewing thereof, together very frequently with name-calling, is a very common tool in that particular political toolbox. And if someone really wants to get someone on their side, spewing fireballs is seldom the best method via which to achieve it. And spewing fireballs is in verbiage, emotio-verbal approach, what many activists across the world have been choosing to do for quite some time. So, there are quite a number of things that could be reasonably and justifiably stated in an actual, well-reasoned critique of their approaches. What Mr. Zimmerman said was not such. In fact, I would say that if he really wanted to help the conservative cause, and assuming he wanted it to actually do good in the world, then he did not do it very well in choosing that wording. And I would further say, as someone physically female who is emotionally androgynous, aka gender blended, that in that particular moment of choosing that wording, Mr. Zimmerman, for that moment, proved himself not only less than a man, but in that moment, he proved himself a dick. I did warn you that this was the less polite version. I really, really hope that all of you are well, and that that these words, which I did warn you, would have a little bit of snark in them, did not offend too horribly much. Blessings on everybody watching, regardless of their particular political orientation or philosophical orientation. This night is in my part of the woods. It is 2:10 a.m. Yes, I'm getting in touch with my inner night elf. What can I say? And it's quite a lovely night out there. But anyway, I will wrap this particular video up by also saying, after reading the article I did, which goes into Mr. Matthew Apperson's having chosen, when he recognized Mr. Zimmerman as the shooter of Trayvon Martin, and having recognized the fact that he was behind him in traffic. The fact that Mr. Apperson chose in that moment to roll his window down and shout at Mr. Zimmerman about his particular deed shows that in that particular moment, I will not speak for where he is since then, but that in that particular moment, Mr. Apperson was thoroughly in touch with his inner idiot. However, that does not whatsoever, even though it might give a background and have provided an emotional inspiration or aid to Mr. Zimmerman's rage incident, it does not excuse any violence on either side. I am an anger problem survivor, and I can personally speak for this. Blessings.